Welcome to the 21st session where we are using Indian knowledge systems for creating a global well-being curriculum. The OECD Learning Compass seeks values from education. Evidence of how 4 Indian knowledge systems values work in society and education will be shared in this session. This session starts with a simple question. What values can join the world, not divide it? These should be acceptable to all religions, philosophies, cultures and traditions. They should be practical with some evidence of application or its possibility. They should be the basis of the curriculum discussed in the last session. Take 5 minutes to choose and write your idea about them. The 4 human values of Indian knowledge systems that bind all philosophies and religions are truth, satya, righteous conduct, dharma, peace, shanti, and love, prema. These 4 human values naturally lead to the 5th, non-violence or ahimsa. The first 2 values are interconnected as shown in 20 earlier sessions. We will not repeat much about how one sustains the other. If truth is investigated in any situation, the right thing to do in that situation becomes clear. If the right thing has not been done, that is, social pain has been created, it implies that the truth about what keeps social harmony has not been investigated correctly. Current social pain is a truth found by the OECD. OECD links it to education. What is the truth education is imparting? Any scientific investigation sticks to facts. What is the fact about the nature of existence in the world? Is the physical reality of the world the fact about it? Or are the scientific discoveries in quantum physics about the nature of reality the true fact of creation? A court of law seeks the truth using a constitution or rule book. What is this constitution or rule book? Who sets it? For nations, their government set it. But humans live in the universe and cosmos. IKS explores the universal rule book, the laws that keep the universe and the cosmos in a state of dynamic balance. This set of laws is called dharma in IKS. In English, we call it righteous conduct. It is a set of laws that sustains mutual coexistence in the body, in the family, society, cluster, nation, world, and with nature. What is the first value that we started the course with? The first basis or human value for taking the course is speaking the truth. It makes us investigate the truth in every situation, to speak it. In Indian knowledge systems, this process should help us discover the truth of our deep interrelationship with society. An individual seeking myopic, selfish goals that harm society hasn't discovered the truth that individuals live together to make society function. Hence, learning cooperation with others is the basis of social well-being. The Sahnavavtu mantra starts with seeking cooperation to learn and a devotion to experience, to explore all dimensions of truth, to fill our life and actions with brilliance. In academics, we call it seeking excellence and filling it with goodness. That the method is through togetherness leads to an attitude beyond myopic selfishness. It seeks the truth that leads to prosperity for all. That is the IKS approach. When fulfilling needs of all is sought as an objective, it leads to well-being naturally. This is the practical application of the first two human values of IKS, which leads to the third human value, peaceful coexistence. We will see that all the human values are interlinked. One leads to the other. Truth is the beginning for all of them. We have seen how its investigation leads to the third value. Peaceful coexistence brings out the quality of selfless love that is hidden in the human heart. This is not a selfish or need-based concept of love in a physical dimension. It is the spirit of love that Jesus and other religions talk of. Such an experience of love cannot visualize violence as a means to resolve differences or imperceptions. Non-violence is the fifth human value that emerges naturally if the first four human values are followed. The habit of speaking the truth is the first step to investigating it, and these human values follow naturally if truth is investigated. Therefore, this course starts with only one precondition: speak the truth. Try to speak the truth. Each session of IKS interaction between students and a teacher starts with a humble prayer of Sehna-Bhavtu. This prayer is invoking a spirit of cooperation in search for the truth behind the visible and invisible phenomena. Its search is not just in the external world but starts within. The dimensions of the truth are revealed by the experience of the teacher, and further dimensions are explored by questions of the students. In case some of the students may be exposed to this way of seeing the truth for the first time, in their innocent questions, new dimensions may emerge. The innocence of questions is a valuable input, provided the intention behind asking them is sincere and thoughtful. This is the natural way of expansion of human consciousness through cooperation of students and teachers. How will the Sehna-Bhavtu approach address the problems faced today? We need an evidence-based approach. This session will give an evidence of an ancient practice of Africa and a successful recent experiment from India, and see how evidence of imparting the current curriculum using these four values has worked in society, in a microcosm of society. Wisdom is one. We have seen deep IKS meanings of symbols used in the United States of America. We have also seen how their leaders followed the ideas shared in this international knowledge system, now called Indian knowledge system. These ideas always had an international acceptability. An idea from Africa is being shared now. An experiment on Ubuntu was done by an anthropologist in Africa. The chief editor of Brazilian Journal of Clinical Analysis uses it as an introduction to laboratory management for modern business leadership. 19 references are listed in this article. He attributes reporting of this experiment to a philosopher journalist from Argentina. Activist Desmond Tutu used this idea very often. It represents the essence of implementing ideas of Indian knowledge system and its Sehna-Bhavtu approach. IKS promotes ideas that are universal and have led to survival of our civilization. These ideas have been formulated thousands of years ago and spread all over the world. They are the basis of society. They lead to the idea of loving all just as we love ourselves, and are formulated to give joy to all and protect all. These ideas represent the truth of society, are eternal, and represent the beauty of or auspiciousness that motivates human effort. The world seeks evidence that such ideas of Indian knowledge system existed and how they are practiced. An anthropologist approached a group of African children who were playing. He wanted to run an experiment with them. So he proposed a game. He placed a basket of sweets near a tree and made the children stand 100 meters away. He announced that whoever ran and reached there first will get the full basket of sweets. This also put to test if profit maximization and utility maximization ideas in modern economics are the real human nature. He told them to start after he says go in ready steady go. Do you know what the children did? They held hands and ran to reach together. They distributed the sweets among themselves joyfully. When asked, why did they do so? The reply was Ubuntu. Ubuntu means, how can I be happy when others are sad? Or, I am because we are. These ancient ideas are the basis that join society. The greed that caused the 2008 recession would never have occurred if this was inculcated by education. No wonder the chief editor of Brazilian Journal of Clinical Analysis uses it as an introduction to laboratory management for modern business leadership. IKS is not about being limited by the slowest runner. Let me make it very clear. IKS is not about the whole group not running fast because the slowest runner cannot run. IKS teaches excellence of running fast but fills it with goodness. It doesn't promote laziness and sloth. We should reward winners to enable them to excel, but the reward should not deprive the rest of society. It should not be the winner takes all. Skills are used to protect and benefit all in society. The runner who has won is given the responsibility of protecting society. A question, let's ask a question. Why are we resorting to ancient wisdom in the day and age of modern science? This needs a scientific answer. Einstein believed that a problem cannot be solved from the same mindset that created it in the first place. If the end result or evidence is social pain, we need to examine what caused it. Education has been identified as a solution. We are re-examining education from a different mindset, following Einstein's insight. The tradition of exploration in current knowledge systems science has regrettable examples. The lack of importance to IKS for centuries is thus understandable. Socrates was accused of impiety and forced to drink poison and die. The trial of Galileo and life imprisonment sentence is another example. Later, Socrates, Galileo were resurrected, and Galileo became the father of astronomy, the father of scientific method, the father of modern physics, father of modern science, etc. Is there a similar need to resurrect Indian knowledge systems which thrived on debate and never persecuted thinkers? Did the death of thinkers and scientists show that their search had disturbed the inner peace of powers that be? Jesus taught God is love and met the same fate. Can we resurrect this teaching of human values? We have seen that truth and righteous conduct are naturally linked. Why did the children not run to get the sweets first? Let us look at IKS concepts of motivation, attitude, desire, that is, peace and love. Do we find them visible in interactions in society today? OECD wants education to inculcate reflection before action. Reflection before action emerges from a feeling of inner peace. Ancient wisdom says it emerges from selfless love. Both are so intertwined that the latter may emerge from the former. Is there any evidence that can prove that humans are capable of expressing selfless love on a mass scale without resorting to examples of Jesus, etc.? This selfless love, we have analyzed, has its origins in ether. The human mind gets attracted by the lower elements and from the unwavering state becomes fluctuating and moves in the lower air element. The nature of thoughts is like the clouds. It creates a rain of thoughts that results in actions. The thought is also the seed in the ground. The nature of the seed of thought and the actions it results in reap a harvest. The harvest depends on the rain and seed of thoughts. Both sow and irrigate the nature of harvest. Social pain is giving a harvest of weeds while society expects otherwise. The biggest attraction of the mind too is land. We have seen human history as a history of wars. The idea of acquiring more land as a symbol of power is ingrained in the concept of the human ego, the desire to leave a mark of one's importance over others. A couple of European professors have found that large-scale acquisitions have been a recurrent historical phenomena since ancient times. They have concluded that it has important implications for sustained development. Can we say that this is essential human nature of maximizing everything, with land being the first expression? Can Indian knowledge system provide evidence otherwise? The Indian knowledge system tradition is deeply ingrained in human minds. I share the work of Vinoba Bhave, whose work proved to the world that this attraction to land is not a natural human instinct but is an acquired one. I quote excerpts here. In early 1950s, a certain region in India had been the scene of violent communist rebellion. Vinoba reached there and quickly showed his sensitivity. On April 18, 1951, Vinoba entered the center of communist activity. The organizers had arranged Vinoba's stay at a large village with about 700 families, of whom 2/3 were landless. On reaching this, he went to visit the Untouchables colony. On inquiring what would make their life self-sustainable, Vinoba discovered all they wanted was 80 acres of land, 40 wet, 40 dry, for 40 families. That would be enough. Then Vinoba asked, if it is not possible to get land from the government, is there not something villagers themselves could do? To everyone's surprise, a local landlord got up and said in a rather excited voice, I will give you 100 acres for these people. At his evening prayer meeting, the same landlord got up and repeated his promise to offer 100 acres of lands to the Harijans. This incident was the very genesis of the Bhudan movement, and it made Vinoba think that therein lay the potentiality of solving the land problem of India. Thereafter, Vinoba started going from village to village, declaring to all that he had come to loot them with love. And he succeeded. Time magazine carried a cover story of the largest peaceful land transfer in human history. It turns the current assumptions of human nature in economics upside down. Does selfless love work today? Vinoba Bhave is quoted to have said, I have come to loot you with love. See emphasis on the word peace, peaceful transfer. Love and peace work together. That selfless love exists in all human beings, and that it can be awakened easily is demonstrated by the work of Vinoba Bhave of India in the 1950s. In human history, land has been the cause of most disputes. People fight over it, kill for it, and die for it. Vinova made people give up their land for the landless by only doing a simple thing: awakening selfless love within. He would famously say, "I have come to loot you with love." This led to the largest peaceful land transfer in human history to the landless. Over 4 million acres of land, and this was as recently as 1953. These two examples prove that the values are hidden within a human. Can education bring them out? Evidence of how education transforms individuals and society to create well-being is shared now. In early 1900, an assorted cluster of mud huts and a few brick and mortar houses and a population of less than 200 existed in a small hamlet in South India. This is a good sample setting. We will examine what happened here to see if well-being can be promoted, especially using ideas of education to create a spirit of service among students to meet OECD's community civic engagement variables. A private individual who was a resident of this small village of 200 opened a primary school here over 40 years ago. What has happened in this hamlet of 1900s gives us data and evidence. The school's website states its objectives, and I quote, "The physical, mental and spiritual aspects of the personality of the student are sought to be developed with the stress on character development, in addition to academic excellence, inculcating the virtues of adherence to truth and discipline, dedication to duty and devotion to the Supreme is as important as academic excellence," unquote. So the importance of, we can see as important as academic excellence is personal excellence. The 4 human values, truth, righteousness, peace and love, were formulated here and followed along with non-violence. Material infrastructure is used to discover human essence here. IKS education has created well-being in society here by transforming students to serve all. Over 40 years, this primary school has expanded to a secondary school today. The students benefit from all supporting infrastructure for character development, including the finest sports infrastructure. Apart from values, academics, sports and extracurricular activity, students learn to serve nearby villagers as a curriculum activity. Another school was opened in a nearby district up to class 10 with all facilities in a 27-acre complex of 2 school, 2 hostel buildings, vast playgrounds, etc. The facilities at what was a hamlet in 1900s now includes a college and a university too. The students get all facilities for all-round development: physical, mental, spiritual. The university has campuses in other cities by now. This is a view of the Bangalore campus. The university has a separate campus for women at the district headquarters. The university has yet another campus in a neighboring state too. What are the facilities provided to students? A Hillview Stadium where international cricketers have played is shown here. An indoor stadium exists. A planetarium exists. Many underrate the importance of a planetarium in a university. Ancient Indian knowledge system uses a planetarium to show the difference, to create the awe of awareness when you look at the cosmos and you compare your size to the size of the cosmos. That is where humility, the Rig Veda, starts. A planetarium is the introduction to the size of the human being compared to the size of the cosmos. A museum that is a mosaic of world cultures exists here. They celebrate the diversity of world cultures here. Research laboratories abound. And what do students enjoy doing the most? They enjoy serving the villages nearby, and this is part of their curriculum. The inner search for the source of joy within and the outer search in research laboratories continue together here. Inner search in the mind's laboratory and beyond, and exploring creation in research laboratories goes hand in hand in the tradition of Indian knowledge systems. Doing this, they discover the inner source of joy by serving society, especially the needy. In what environment do students study? Hygiene factors are not forgotten while inner motivators are being catalyzed. And what is the nature of habits formed? One habit that students can't forget when they become alumni is lifelong service to the needy, wherever they finally go and reside in life and wherever they work. One resident of this village, who as a child hid his torn clothes using thorns, created this administrative office for a university. This is the evidence of transformative power of using Indian knowledge systems. The IKS miracle is in the infrastructure and the transformation of students. The wholesome impact of IKS is judged by a simple question: how much does education cost? If you join in primary and complete PhD, the answer is zero. Education is given free of cost here, from primary to PhD. Will adding goodness in students' minds to create well-being be at the cost of academic excellence? This school has been rated amongst the top 10 ranked CBSE schools in India. The university was described by NAAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council of India, as, and I quote, the crest jewel of the Indian university education system, unquote. The university's vice chancellors have been eminent scientists, economists, etc. In 2019, the average academic staff to student ratio was 1:11. The system of education they use is called Educare or Vidya Vahini. Its international organization, inspired by such ideals, works in 126 countries with 2,000 centers. It has adopted 113 communities globally to participate in long-term care and nurturing in medical, environmental care, service, education, healthcare, youth issues, women's issues, and children's issues in these 113 communities worldwide. This international organization today has 44 schools following Educare or Vidya Vahini and 33 institutes worldwide. With zero cost, how many have benefited from the Gurukul style value-based ancient wisdom? Till 2019-20, over 14,000 students have graduated from the university since 69-70. Using this philosophy, many private trusts have set up 120 schools under the same umbrella all over India. 50,000 students have received education using this philosophy, while over 8,000 students in what was a hamlet in 1900s have received free education. Boys and girls are enrolled using a merit-based policy, irrespective of income, class, creed, religion or region, with no reservation or preference for any particular community or religion. One of the core values sought to be developed is selfless service to society. It also teaches reverence to parents, elders, and dignity to all individuals. It seeks to develop self-confidence, academic excellence, communication and social skills, analytical ability, self-discipline and positive thinking with a unity of thought, word and deed. This private individual was fond of telling everyone that there is no difference between you and me. The private individual who created all this infrastructure. The only difference, he said, is that I have realized and you have not. He practiced what he preached. He had realized his potential. So this is what one individual is capable of creating. As he did not complete even his school education, we can conclude that it is only the practices of Indian knowledge systems that enabled him to create this evidence. This course lays a deep emphasis on practice. Every attempt is made to make all the lectures very short. A 5-minute slot at the end of this lecture is being given for silent sitting. This is to enable the participant to mull over what is said. Whatever has been heard should be repeated in the mind so that it gets absorbed. Just as sugar is stirred in a cup of tea or coffee with a spoon, use the spoon of silence to stir the sugar of Indian knowledge systems in your mind. It takes some time for the tea or coffee to become sweet. Patience is very important. The perspectives shared in the course will seem meaningful only if such silent sitting is done to mull over what has been said. Else, the half an hour spent in delivering the lectures will be a waste of time. We welcome you to undertake an inner journey during these 5 minutes. Only then will knowledge that is outside you will become wisdom inside you. The time allocated for this is actually 20 minutes, not 5 minutes. The time should be increased gradually. This is also a time for the mind to take rest. In case it cannot do that, mull over whether the voice of the conscience has guided you at any time in life till now. We accept challenges for the physical body in games. In a gym, we can have a 20 minutes plank challenge. We may exchange challenges on the quantity of food we can eat. Can we go beyond such challenges to the second step of the Indian knowledge systems? Can we see if the mind itself can take rest and maybe stop working? Can we explore what will happen if it becomes zero? Remember, it is not good to challenge the mind. It rebels and makes you do the opposite of what you want it to do. It is far simpler to observe the mind. For doing this, first the physical body should move as little as possible. Observe the mind as it tells the body to move. You are not telling the body to move, the mind is telling the body to move. Observe the mind. Move away from the mind and see what it is forcing the body to do. Watch the mind as if you are sitting on a fan at a distance. When you are at home, Shavasana in yoga is a good posture for this practice. Try to first silence the body, then the mind. For those who have mastered this, they can try the next method. When you think of nothing, can you experience love without giving it a shape of a thing like your favorite food, or a thing that you want to own, or the physical form of a person? Can it just be love without an emotion to a person or a thing? Can it be love for the sake of love? How do you experience loving yourself? The purpose of this course is to help you discover yourself, that loving being beyond the body and the mind.